So today's workshop has several aims. They're said as well here. So to help you to foster learning and impact for ESC volunteers, we're going to share hands-on knowledge, resources, things that we use in the organization. And we are a lead sending, hosting, coordinating, supporting organization. So we do everything when it comes to ESC, short-term, long-term. So this is something that is very important for us, and we focus on it. And of course, the most important thing I think is that you can ask questions, and this is something that I'm very open to, and Andre is very open to, I'm sure. So the point that you go out from this workshop with answers, and hopefully more questions that are going to then help you delve deeper into this fantastic topic and fascinating ESC world. So this was the little intro. We're going to have now energizers, I promised. Then we're going to play a game, true or false. This comes from the ESC guide. So we're going to guess, or you're going to know, maybe, I don't know, what are the correct answers, what are the wrong ones. We're going to have a short break, and then we go completely focus on the tools that we use in OTSANS9. This is so far the program. I would really appreciate if you let me know if something is too fast or you're not getting the information you want. It's important that we're on the same page. And without further ado, let's dive into it. So what I need from you now is to grab the first yellow thing that is in your next vicinity, and then you're going to shortly present it to all of us in 1 minute. So find the yellow thing. And okay, I can start. And then afterwards, I'm going to pass the ball to somebody. Please get the yellow thing. You need the yellow item. We're going to focus on this. And okay, so I don't know if you can see well, yes, now it's good. So this yellow thing, so this is my laptop bag. Why this laptop bag is so important? Because it was bought on an exhibition from Klimt. And it represents his famous work. And it was actually originally intended as a present that never got to the person who it was intended for, but it somehow fantastically fit to my laptop. So that was then the choice to keep this laptop bag to protect my laptop, which is my livelihood. So yeah, this is a bit, yeah, exactly. Thank you, Karim. Exactly. Okay, so then I would like to pass the ball to Fabiola. Fabiola, what yellow thing did you find?
Okay, the only yellow thing I found was a marker, a yellow marker. As you can see, you have two parts, a fine one and a brush one. And this is very, very useful during trainings because it can help you to underline stuff and also to focus on specific words using this fantastic color that is yellow.
Fantastic, Fabiola. You can pass it then to the next person.
Karim?
Karim, you are muted.
Yeah, sorry. I lost the view. Okay. So I have this badge. It has a yellow. Is it? Does it?
Yes,
so
it does. Yes.
It is my European Local Democracy Agencies Network. General Assembly held a couple of days ago with like there was a lot of talks about Ukraine, about democracy in general, and but for me the most important and interesting thing would be admission of Western Balkans country to European Union, which is like big talk now, and it seems that it is going to happen from outside. From the inside of EU, there are no real signs about the restructuring and everything, but this ESC program would help and helping us and our volunteers and our youth to get to know better EU, and then to come back to Montenegro, because we have a big problem of people wanting to leave, you know, whether EU or not EU. So this is all about dilemmas and thoughts that I'm having now. So, but there are elections, and vote, you from European countries, vote for parties that will speed up the Western Balkans countries' admission to EU. So this is the message.
Wow, Kerry, thank you so much. Little Badge has a big story. Thank you. Can you pass it on then to somebody else now?
Olivia?
Yes, thank you. I found a yellow pen, which we have here in the office from the Faculty of Pharmacy, and it's from a big fair that we had in January, where high schoolers come to have a look and see what they would like to study. And yeah, there is not a particular story about this pen, but it's from an important event where we share about education and the importance of this.
Thank you, Olivia. Can you pass it to somebody else?
Yes, I would like to pass it to Anela and Niaz.
Hi everyone. The only yellow thing that we have in our office is this bottle of lemonade. It's important because it keeps us refreshed and hydrated, and it is rich in vitamin C, low in sugar, and especially very good in these upcoming summer hot days.
Super, thank you. Would you be so kind to pass it on to somebody else?
I'm gonna pass it to Andre.
Super, thank you very much. Oh, the yellowish thing that I found is this piece of wood that I started to carve. It's going to be a bear. It doesn't look like it, but it's going to be a bear at some point. And the story connected to it is that I used to think that I'm not creative at all until I actually realized that it's just that I'm not really good at some creative methods, but that does not mean that I'm not creative. And this is something that I realized 1.5 years ago. Since then, I started working on my graphic facilitation, sketching a little bit, and also carving, which is something that I start enjoying. That's my yellow thing.
Thank you, Andre. Would you then pass it to Andrea? Or
Yes,
you want to pass it
please.
to somebody else?
Andrea, that's a must, please.
Thank you, Andre. So, do you see what I share with you?
Salto?
Yes.
Build.
I grabbed this yellow sticker. It looks kind of yellow. It's more orange, but the closest to the yellow. But it has a really nice message that I want to somehow pass. So I will read it. Thank you for building bridges of opportunities with us. So this is basically a sticker that we are giving out on our physical events. So possibly when we will meet, you will be able to get this sticker if you like it. So that would be from my side. And I would pass the floor to Tobias.
I don't have anything interesting. I'm in my kitchen. I have garlic powder.
Very good.
Which is yellow. So nothing really story behind it.
Do you use it for something, some special dish that nobody else combines it with? Is garlic a thing that when you wake up in the morning, you go and you check, I have enough garlic powder, I can survive today?
I mean, I put in basically everything, so.
Super. Thank you, Tobias. Vielen Dank. Can you pass it to somebody else who hasn't been yet?
Who hasn't been yet? Karen?
Aldin, I think, hasn't been yet, and that's it. Only Aldin, I think, we're missing.
Yeah, then Alden.
Yeah, so for that purpose, I could present now. Yeah. Okay, so when I looked around myself, I didn't see anything yellow besides this table, but it's kind of hard to present it. It's heavy. So I found this eraser for my whiteboard, and it's quite helpful because I'm somebody who talks a lot in the office and who presents a lot of stuff. So I'm always punishing my colleagues by my long presentations and talks, and it helps me because one whiteboard table is not enough for me, so I have to erase it multiple times so I could present my boring ideas and talks all the time. That's it.
Super. Thank you, Alvin. I see that Mario from Youth Agency is also here. So, Mario, the game is Story of a Yellow Thing that is right next to you. Feel free. We cannot hear you. I don't know if it's only me, but I wasn't able to hear you, Mario.
Yeah, we cannot hear Mario. Unfortunately, still not.
We have like a little show. We're trying to get because we cannot hear you, Mario. So it's like charades. So he's holding a paper. What is he saying? I don't know. Still, we cannot hear you. Maybe you can write the story in the chat because I don't know what's the reason that the sound is not coming. Okay, I guess it's some technical difficulties for Mario, but we would still appreciate the story in the chat. And with this, having heard you all say something, I really appreciate. Let's see what he has got a problem with his connection. Okay, no problem, Mario. This is fine. Just type the story in the chat so we have you as well. And with this being said, thank you so much. It was really important that I at least hear your voices so that I know that you're alive and well, and it seems you are, so that's good. And now we're going to continue with the rest of the program.
One technical question.
Yes, Kevin.
How long do you think that this is going to last? What is the plan?
90 minutes as promised.
90 minutes.
Yes, this is what we promised. So we're going to keep to it, and I will organize all of my things that we finish on time. Okay, my dear people. So what we're going to be doing now? I will ask you kindly to use the chat and write. I will read through this fact, and then you will, based on your knowledge and skill, tell me this is true or this is not true. Okay? Is this possible for everybody? Do you understand? So basically, just write T or F in the chat, and then we're going to slowly check. And if you have any questions about this, I will also explain so that you have some understanding. So the first sentence is to volunteers on a 2-month ESC project, so-called short-term project. OIT, which is short for on-arrival training, needs to be provided by the hosting organization. For the MTM midterm meeting organized by NA or SALTO, they are not eligible to attend, but they are welcome to attend annual event for return volunteers organized by their home organization, by their home NA and SALTO. Do you think this is true or this is false? Andre, would you be so kind to as well check what people are writing? True, true, true. So far, we have. Okay. Okay, fantastic. Almost everybody answered true. Yes, it's true. Some of the things that I would also like to add, yes, good job, everybody. What is really important is that if the volunteering is from 3 to 5 months, then the OIT is provided by DNA. If the volunteering is 6+ months, then also both the OIT and the MTM are provided. So this is something that we would really like to stress. That's important, so that this is like part of the tech cycle, training and evaluation cycle, and it's something that all hosting organizations should be, and coordinating should be aware about the volunteers. Cool. Moving on. Second one is European health insurance card is available for volunteers hosted in Western Balkans. True or not? Fabiola says true. Okay, colorful answers. Well, since we are talking about, thank you. Since we are talking about Southeast Europe and countries that are not part of the European Union, unfortunately, it is false. So volunteers who come from these countries to volunteer abroad in Europe, they are not eligible for having basically European health insurance card, and it's something that it's crucial to know that Henner then this insurance is basically the one that covers that is the basic insurance. So no more using the European health insurance card. It's more about Henner being the base for everything. This is important. And one thing that I just want to say is that you also, when you get the presentation, you also have notes where you get the information, what is true, what is false, the things that I was saying, so you can read it once more. So thank you.
Can I comment on this?
Yes,
shortly. We had, was it Erasmus Plus meeting? We had Italian guest. It was this organizational meeting, what is called, and the Italian had health issues in Montenegro. So we went to the hospital. He got himself a stent. So it is like not very simple thing, and it is not. It is a little bit costly, and we tried to see whether it can be covered. And there came out that Montenegro, as a successor of ex-Yugoslavia, has bilateral agreement with Italy to recognize the health insurance. So this is possibility maybe that can be used for other European countries that is maybe not well explored or promoted. So I think that Montenegro and all ex-Yugoslavian countries as successors has succeeded ex-Yugoslavia agreement with all European countries, maybe not new ones because they didn't exist, but it is something to be explored for safety, for security, for insurance, and also for lowering the costs and making volunteers. I don't know whether it is explored in ESC, but there is this thing that should be furtherly elaborated. So the cost of this surgery in Montenegro was like 1,000. In Italy, it was like 15,000. So he was lucky to have it here because he would have covered it for bigger amount. So this is maybe interesting for.
It's very interesting. Thank you, Kerim. This is also new information for me. I didn't know about this, so thank you so much. It's a very specific example. Really appreciate it. And we're going to have it now also on YouTube. So it's something that definitely people find out. Andre wanted to mention something.
Thank you, Kerim. But since this is really, that people need to investigate a lot and really understand, the safest thing with ESC and exchange of the volunteers is to go for the safety, and which means that Henner is the insurance to be taken as primarily in this case, because risks are very difficult to manage, and volunteers have to have a very clear information, and Henner is in this case really the must insurance. That would be just my addition to this.
Thank you very much, and thank you very, very much, Kerim. We are moving on to the third. The participants in volunteering activities are free to carry out routine tasks that would normally be carried out by paid employees. True or false? Okay, well, the answer is false. Why? What is really important is that a volunteer should never do a job that is so highly responsible that it will influence the stability of the organization, or something that makes them so stressed and is requiring them to have a certain set of skills to be able to do these tasks. Also, doing routine tasks is not something that is advised in the guide. It's more said that there are different kinds of activities that are engaging, entertaining, like non-formal education workshops, events, these kind of things. Definitely never should a volunteer substitute a paid employee. This is never the case, absolutely never. But also, if this is not a substitution and the volunteer is always doing routine tasks, it's also going to be a problem. But why it's going to be a problem, I'm going to explain later on. I'm just going to give you like a little piece now connected to the quality of volunteering that we in the organization do. And as I mentioned, we do short-term volunteering, long-term volunteering teams. We just finished one last week, volunteering team of 10 volunteers from 5 different countries. And it was always really important that the activities that they do are meaningful. What does it mean meaningful? Something that where they see that they are having an impact on the local community, that what their contribution is valued and is valuable. So this is something that really helps create quality experiences for the volunteers. But more about this a little bit later. Okay, we're continuing with the next slide. And now, learning is not that important for volunteering projects as long as the focus is on solidarity and contributing to society. True or false? False, false, false. True, Kerim says. Okay. Well, I would say it's very false. Otherwise, why would we be doing this workshop? Learning is basically what creates meaning for the volunteers. So if they're just doing things, not being aware that they are learning something out of it, or not having the opportunity to learn, automatically the quality of the experience falls down, because they're not going to remember if they did one workshop, but they're going to remember what was meaningful for them from this workshop. So in that sense, learning is also an important part. Sure, ESC solidarity is in the center, but learning is also a crucial part for the experience of these volunteers. So without learning, we cannot talk about good quality volunteering experiences. Okay, so the next one, the same person should be the coordinator, mentor, and supervisor of the volunteers so that the information travels faster and the response is faster. Yes or no? True or false? Mario said no. Yes, that's it. Exactly. Everybody's very correct. Is there somebody who shortly wants to say why this is so false? Nobody? You know it's false, but you don't know why. Okay, this is also fine. Yes,
the mentor,
thank you.
for example, should be someone who is not into the organization, so that he can support the volunteer, not in the tasks and activities, but also for example, the knowing of the local area, to, I don't know, to familiarize with other young people, and so on and so forth, for the mentor,
Okay.
for example.
Thank you, Fabiola. Very good. Yes, it's true. It's very difficult to have high quality support if one person is there for everything. And this really is then challenging as well for the volunteer, because to understand when one role stops and when one role begins, that it's not a big mix of everything, it gets very confusing sometimes. So it's important to have these two separated. We're going to continue. It doesn't matter how much hours the volunteer is contributing in a week, as long as they are having fun enjoying the work. True or false? False, false, false. Okay, cool. Yes, you're absolutely right. It's false. It matters how much hours they're contributing. Minimum to be counted as volunteering is 30 hours. Maximum allowed is 38 hours. So this is the frame we need to stick to. In these 38 hours, also we include the time that they're spending on reflection, evaluation meetings, as well language learning and so on. So this 38 hours, this is the top, the plateau, let's say, from their involvement. Okay, very good. Super easy. Let's continue. Okay, the role of the mentor is to support the volunteer on a personal level, help them to integrate in the local community, and create socializing opportunities. Is it true or is it false? Okay, Kevin says no. Everybody else says yes. Cool. Well, this one is true. There are also more things to add. But one of the things that I would also like to talk about here is how is the situation for you, how you do the mentoring. I will explain what we do in our organization, and there is more to this. So usually when we have long-term volunteers, I am the mentor. That means that I am working with the volunteers on a weekly basis. We have meetings, regular meetings 2 times a week, and of course, whenever it's necessary to talk. But since my background is I'm a youth worker and an educator and a trainer as well, I also used to work as a trainer for OATs in Germany. And for me, this learning part is incredibly important. So I focus as well on providing a learning opportunity from private moments, meaning that they're not just going to learn while they're in the organization, they're also going to learn outside. They can also learn from unpleasant and pleasant situations. So my goal is basically to foster this lifelong learning approach. And then this is what I do because I have the experience and knowledge, and I know how to lead young people through this process. But not every time would you find a mentor who can do this. And sometimes we had mentors for our short-term volunteers, for especially who are basically more in line of being a young person who did the ESC themselves or the EVS themselves, and then they would provide a different kind of support, meaning that they would more often find socializing opportunities, they would go integrate into the local community. So it was more of like, I listen to your challenges, I understand these challenges because I face them as well. So it was not the focus on this learning aspect, meaning that they had different methods, but the focus was as well on how to find their way around the town, around the community while they're there. So in that sense, the role does not have, it says there isn't a requirement that this learning aspect is a must, but in my experience, it's something that really helps to then increase the quality as well of the experience in the organization, because some things they learned with me then didn't have to be done by the supervisor. And then the things that they learned there, the skills they applied as well at work, at the volunteering, right? So this is something that really helps and balances it out. How we motivate our young people to mentor, if I'm not available or if I have too many volunteers, we provide them with some good literature and books, and we have an in-house little training. What is important, how to support the volunteers, and we also have a codex for. It's not for mentors; it's more for buddies, uh, which is another, let's say, role that we have as well in the team, where it's explained what is acceptable and what is not acceptable when working with volunteers. So this is something where we present, you will get the opportunity to really gain this experience and these skills to motivate the young people to join. And plus, since we work with young people on a regular basis, this is something that is often repeated. The call is often repeated and offered to people because we have a lot of volunteers, and then we are not expecting that the same person is going to be the mentor for all of them, I don't know, for a long time. And the prize that we give, because we cannot pay them, we also have a lot of Erasmus Plus projects available, and then we send them with a special how is it? They get a special prize. They can choose the project they want to go to. Sometimes these projects are also in exotic destinations. So for us, we're very lucky that we have this kind of partnership. So for us, it's something that we can give without a problem to the young people. And I would be also well interested if somebody just shortly would like to share how you motivate the mentors, and do you have this? Do you have issue with this or challenge? How is the situation for you?
May I just briefly?
Yes.
this is very important insight, because I was always thinking about mentoring as support to learning process, and after working hours I just leave them get their steam out, and maybe they don't want to see the same face 24 hours, but it is very important learning through situations in community. This is very important and interesting. I was a little bit losing this element, but we should be there somehow, maybe a little bit invisible, but help them go around and get the knowledge and experiences for the community. Very good insight.
Yes, this is one important part, Kerim, as well. And then what I also, for example, noticed, if even this learning dimension is a little bit lacking, I still, if I'm the supervisor, for example, and I know that with the mentor, the volunteer has done something in the community, I can then always ask, like, hey, what happened? How was it for you? Did you learn something out of it? So the learning dimension has to be somewhere there. It does not, if we don't have a mentor who is capable of providing it, then the supervisor is good enough, or a coordinator is good enough, that these are people who really know how to harvest the learning, let's say it like this. So thank you very much. Okay, if at any moment you would like to share, we'll continue. If at any moment you would like to share and maybe your experience with mentors, feel free. I would be very happy, maybe in the Q&A later on. Okay, so the organization should encourage contact with other European Solidarity Corps participants whenever possible. Yes or no, true or false? Okay, super. Thank you. Yes, it is true. Why? Because for young people coming into a new community is sometimes very difficult, but meeting people who are facing the same challenges or similar challenges like them really helps them connect more and enjoy the process more. We, for example, have something that's called ES Circle. What is this? Basically, we took three organizations, with us, three organizations that have a lot of volunteers. And then we organize a monthly meeting where all of these volunteers come to a different organization and then do activities together. And then all of the organizations are specific for something. What Saznanje is focusing on education, non-formal education at that. And then we did something connected to the topic we work on. The Capoeira Amazonas, the association is basically focused on capoeira and integrating young people who are excluded through capoeira. Then they do something like this. And then the third organization is focusing on advocacy. So we are, whenever the volunteers go there, they get something that's connected to the organization in the beginning, but later on, they actually are creating the content for each other. And then this is also a moment where this group then created a very strong circle, and this is how the ESC circle was created. So this is a very valuable moment as well. The organization should provide suitable accommodation, healthy meals, or a food allowance to the volunteer, including during the holiday period. True or false? Waiting for some more answers. Okay. Yes, this is absolutely true. Sometimes it works like this, that you give them immediately. The pocket money is calculated, and the German national agency, they have also a recommendation how much it is. All the national agencies usually would know what is this amount of food, but yes, it should include every day, basically, even during holidays. What about the yes, Fabiola, tell me.
It's not very clear for me, the allowance during the holiday period, because apparently I'm wrong, but I understood that the allowance is daily and we do not have to consider the day when the volunteers are off. So, for example, if they have, I think, 2.5 days a month free.
2 days a month vacation, yeah.
We should not give them the allowance.
Well, I mean, they also need to eat something on those days.
But it was very strange for me. That's why
yes,
I would like to.
Yes, so this is something that's really important. It's calculated per day, but I don't think you give them every, maybe you do, I don't know how it's being done. We usually give them for the whole month. And then the calculation is going to be higher or lower depending on how many days are in a month. So February gives less money than, for example, March, because of the 3 days difference, right? And so basically how we then, it's calculated 6 euros per day. And so you calculate, this is pocket money, sorry, for the food money, there is a recommendation by the national agency how much money it's given, but also we calculate this and then give it on a monthly basis. With the pocket money, we give also the food allowance. This is one option. The other option is when we have, for example, volunteering teams, then we actually provide the meals for them. So we cook lunch, we cook dinner, we buy things for breakfast for them, or they have in their accommodation where they are. So for us, it's always there that the food is covered. And when they're not in the office, when they're going for traveling and so on, then they get the food money as well transferred by us. So it's really important that they're always covered. They have enough food, regardless of vacation, holidays, weekends, whenever, that they are always get the money that is for them.
Can I add
Hope
maybe?
this covers it, Fabiola. Yes, Lorena.
Sorry, maybe I misunderstood because my internet is very, very poor. Maybe if they're having the so-called interruption days, which means that they are participating at the same time in like a youth exchange or something, and you have to avoid double funding. Only in these situations, you should avoid basically paying double for their food. So you're paying from the volunteering project for their food and from the, I don't know, let's say youth exchange project or something else for the same food. So this is double funding. So only in these circumstances, this should be avoided. But normally, typically, as in a work relationship, you should, they should have holidays, as they do have according to program rules, and then they should have everything covered during the holiday times as well. So I think this is clear in the guidelines.
Thank you, Lorena. This is true about the interruption days. Thank you so much. Okay, moving on. So the cost of local transportations are not to be carried by the volunteer, but by the hosting organization. True or false? Karen, you changed your answer to true. Okay. Did everybody else answer already? Am I missing something? People are answering. Okay. Yes, you're absolutely right. The cost of local transportation is definitely something that the host organization should cover. What is really important is that if they are traveling in their free time outside of the scope that this local transportation is covering, then it's their job to pay for this travel. But they are free to use the ticket you bought. Maybe somebody buys a monthly ticket or something like this, then they're free to use it whenever they want, except, and then if they need to travel further, this is something that they cover. But it's on the hosting organization that the volunteer can travel around and come to work and so on, or come to the volunteering position, space, whatever, a spot, without them having to incur this cost. Okay, cool. Let's continue. The volunteer's allowance or pocket money can only be given on a monthly basis. True or false? False. Exactly. This is false. Do you know what are some other options? If somebody would like to comment. No idea. Okay, so this is something that we're very careful about, because sometimes, I don't know how it was the case for you, but sometimes we work with young people who are very bad at managing their resources, meaning that they would spend all the money that they get for a whole month, would spend in 2 weeks or a week. And then that caused the problem. So what we were offering training, and then we had an agreement that we would either give it every 2 weeks, or we would transfer every week for every week the sum that is for that week. So there are different options, depends on how your young people are and if they're struggling or they're having some challenges. It's also a good learning opportunity because this skill is not maybe something that is always the focus of volunteering, but living in a different country and learning how to basically manage these things is important. So this is something that can be agreed with the volunteer and created. But what is really important is that that they get it every month. You cannot do it 2 months and then one payment, because this is really important that they have this regularity. Okay, and
Maybe
while
I would,
abroad,
Branimir,
yes,
I would
I'm
just
sorry.
add here, you said that you are doing it in this way, that you are doing it twice a month with a bank transfer. What is important in the projects where which happen in the partner countries, you know, between EU and non-EU, it's always this issue of bank transfers. So here organizations need to find some other ways, otherwise they're also losing money for the commissions. But yeah, just to keep this in mind as well.
Yes. One option that we were using sometimes, it's Revolut, and then it was working in some countries not. But this is something that's a very specific thing. I would not get now into details. If possible, we will find time to talk about it more. Thank you very much, Andre. It's very important. And the last one, while abroad, the volunteers shouldn't inform the supporting sending organization what is happening unless there are difficulties in the volunteering. True or false? Okay. False, false, false. Okay. Yes, this is false, meaning that the sporting organization, sending organization should be informed. We have a dynamic where it happens once every 2 months, if that's a regular thing. And then whenever there is a need, we really strongly suggest as well to the volunteers when we are sending them that they really inform us what is happening, that they talk with us. But also when we're hosting, we also tell the volunteers this is something you can count on, that your sending organization, supporting sending organization is there for you, and they also have a unique perspective. So this is a very good practice. Okay, and now shortly, do you have any questions? Something that struck your fancy and you wanted to talk more about, and we didn't cover it yet? Give me. I would very appreciate it if you would give me some sign with these emojis or something, so that I know that we're on the same page here. Okay, Fabiola, it's okay. Cool. Wow, is that a leopard, Andre? What is this? It's a cat.
Lorena is showing her pet, I believe. Very nice. There you go.
Okay, super, Lorena, thank you. Okay, I guess we're on the same page. So then we're going to slowly continue. And this is now something I was joking that it's the Game of Thrones, but basically it's the general online training. I don't know if you're aware about this. This is a very cool thing, I believe, and this is something that can help stimulate the motivation of the participants. From one hand, the ones who are selected to go to volunteering, and on the other hand, for those who are still waiting to be selected, or they're still searching, this is a very good thing where you get so many different topics covered, which we're going to share in the next slide. So basically, what's the mission of the European Solidarity Corps? The ethics, the integrity, the roles and responsibilities of the participant, European values, intercultural awareness, all of these fantastic things. I think it's why I think it's very good is because sometimes we also have organizations that don't have a lot of experience because everybody started once upon a time, right? So if you don't know all of the topics that should be covered, this is a fantastic training to basically get up to date with all of the important things to cover. One other thing that I find great about this training, this general online training, is that there is a guidebook as well that is suitable for youth workers as well. So if you want to enhance your methods, knowledge, whatever, this is the way to go. I wasn't focusing on this before because I have my trainings that I deliver for organizations that we work with, because we also coordinate volunteers in another town. And I will talk about this when we go to one tool. But what I notice is that this is very good and very useful. So I suggest to check it out and see if it's something that could be useful for you as well. This was just a little bit about the Game of Thrones or general online training. And now we're going to do some tasks. So what I'm presenting to you today, this is one of the tools. This is the 10 things I did for the first time and 10 things I learned. This was created by my colleague, Zrinka, and I will just give you a short story that why this was created. It was created out of need. Basically, what happened was that we had a volunteer once upon a time. This was our first volunteering experience. And this volunteer, it was a mismatch with skills and knowledge and the tasks that were there in the faraway EVS program way back when. And so what happened was that we're trying to find space for her to adjust the whole thing. We had what were the tasks that we envisioned, and she said yes to. And then when she came, it was very difficult for her to do these tasks. So we had to change the whole project because of this. So then basically what Zrinka created this tool is to inspire this young person to start thinking about learning instead of how she cannot do certain things, because she felt that she's not super capable or that she's not contributing because she was not good at the tasks that were important to do according to the project we agreed on. Right. So it was really important to foster this lifelong learning approach that even from adversity and difficulty, we can learn something. So that was one aspect of the 10 things I learned, was that she writes about the life in Zagreb, about the organization, about these tasks. And then through this, we were slowly getting to the process because this is done on a weekly basis for us, meaning that they have in a month 40 things they learned and 40 things they did for the first time. And this was quite a challenge for her because she thought, oh my God, I'm never going to learn 40 things in a month, because she took learning as a specific thing that they're learning something big. I learned how to drive a car, right? So not breaking it down bit by bit and then saying, aha, I learned where which position should I don't know, the transmission be and blah, blah. So basically, this was a very strong process for her that helped her then to identify the things that she was learning on a daily basis. And later on, the same volunteering that started with had a difficult start turned into one of the best experiences for us as well, because she created a training called Body Positive Ballet, where she was talking about body positivity and doing ballet for different women and different people who were interested, right? So, and then later on when she came back to the Netherlands, she turned this into work. And basically the thing that she decided and created on the volunteering later became her profession. So it was an interesting switch, and it happened because she was searching so hard for the things she is good in. And this list helped her actually. And then the other one, so there is a list of 10 things I learned, and then there is another list called 10 things I did for the first time. And with this one, I have as well a cool moment where there were some volunteers that were saying, oh my God, I'm not doing so many firsts in this volunteering. So they were basically kind of challenged to start doing new things for the sake of the list, because this is for us a very important task. So some of the volunteers actually went on certain small trips or tried certain new things, like going to workshops or trying to learn a new skill so that they can say that they did it for the first time. And then after 2 weeks of doing this regularly, they basically embraced this moment of being more brave to try out new things. So this list for us has been proven as a very good thing, and it's easy to track the learning. What we later then do is we connect this to the youth pass, meaning that when we have this list, if you are doing this regularly, let's say you're doing it regularly for some time, After 50, we call it bucket list. Yes, good point, Karen. Very good. I like this addition. So basically, what happened was that then they would arrange all of the things they learned and they did for the first time in the key competences, right? So it actually helped them. It was also kind of keeping track of learning. And it's a lot easier for them then to remember them, remind them and remember the experience that they had and what it means. Because then the things they did for the first time, we teach them how to turn it into learning. So what you learned out of this thing. And then basically you have a whole list of activities they did that they can fit then in a certain time frame. So what was my idea? My idea was that you try this out and that you do 5 things that you learned shortly write it on your on the paper next to you. And then I would give for these 3 minutes, but since we're running short on time, I'm going to leave this as homework for everybody who wants. So you are invited to do these tasks. Why I invite you to do this is because if you don't do it yourself, you do not know what are the pitfalls that the young person can fall into, and you don't know how to support them properly. So every single tool that I use, I tried, or which I developed, I tried it out on other people and myself, because I cannot talk about something that is useful if I don't know how difficult or easy it is to use. So this is always going to be a recommendation from my side. Please try all the tools that you're using on yourself, because then you can more clearly understand the intricacies of the whole process. So we're going to leave the task for later then. And you're invited. Try it out. Try it first for yourself, with your family, with your friends, whoever can give you feedback on what was difficult, and then go try with volunteers. This is always going to be my recommendation. And then we will move on.
The question, this is task for us for today. I mean, what we learned, 5 things that we learned today.
For example, that would be fantastic. If you have time, Kerim, I would really appreciate it if you could do it. We're going to have a small evaluation, but I want to keep within the time frame, and it was important for me that I mentioned this. So try it out today, fill it out, and you're going to get more information from me, I promise.
May I add one sentence?
Tell me.
We had, for our members, our employees, we had also developed something called personal development plan. So if you have your personal development plan of learning, what you want to be, what you want to learn in future, then it is easy for you to fit these things or to understand. But it's difficult to make the track of it, every day. But it would be like important for every person, every human being.
I agree with you 100%. We go in so far. This is something I was not planning to mention here. I'm just going to give a short information. I created this an orientation training. So this is something that is done on the first week when the volunteers come. It's inspired by Soho. Now it's called Tosca. This training and me working on Unravel in midterms, and then I covered some topics that I know that are not covered in the training, in the Unravel trainings, because there is not enough time. And then this is done on the first week of volunteering, and it has as well this, Kerry, what you mentioned, some personal goal setting and some plan for development. And this is what leads me then to the next slide. And this is a tool that I like to use very much. It's called the Olympic goals. So what is important here is that taking learning into their own hands, meaning that the young people understand that they're responsible for their learning. I cannot pour knowledge in their head. So what is really important is that this is done for 2 or 3 weeks, or even a month, depending on how the young person is and what is the most appropriate dynamic. And this is how it looks like. So we have 4 goals, right? So that's why they're called Olympic goals. We have the golden learning goal. This is a goal, this is a thing that they want to learn very much. So they do it 7 times a week. That means from Monday to Sunday, every day, but they choose how long and which time they're going to do it. The important thing is that they stick to the agreement they had with themselves. What's really important here is that it's not something that we check on them and say, oh, why didn't you do it? No. This is something they are absolutely focused on, that they keep to doing, and that they are honest. They have accountability. They're honest. I didn't do it. I didn't do it for 7 days. Obviously, it was not a golden learning goal for you. If there is something that is so important that you're willing to dedicate every day to it, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, doesn't matter, then this is a golden learning goal. And this is for them as well to prioritize and learn and see what is the thing that they are focused on, they're passionate about, they really want to learn. So this is why it's important for me that they are accountable. And then the mentor or the supervisor, whoever is going to check this for, in our case, it's me, because I'm the mentor and I do the learning dimension, is that then it's without judgment saying, hey, how is it going? Are you doing it? What did you choose as your goals? How did it, okay, it didn't work. Okay, no problem. So let's try to adjust. Let's see, let's switch. The silver learning goal is 5 times a week, the bronze learning goal 2 times a week, the copper learning goal once a week. And then they're here how to make it easier to achieve these learning goals is that they can talk, they can decide when they're going to do it, how they're going to do it. Is it with another person? Is it online? Is it going to a course, whatever? Then with whom? Who's going to be their accountability body? Who's going to support them in this process? So that, to try to make it very concrete and very clear. I paired this as well with the video that I didn't put here because I think but it's easy to find. It's a TED Talk. The first, I'll check how it's, but I think it's the first hours or something like this. It's about copper sugar eating goal. Yes, an eating goal, very cool.
This can be used in various aspects of our lives.
Yes, various aspects. Absolutely, I agree. Very good point, Ken. But it's connected the first 20 hours, I think it's called, the video, and basically there is a guy who is explaining, who is helping us understand how learning happens and how to learn anything in life. Of course, it's also a bit done in an American style, which I'm not a big fan of. Super motivational and so on, but there are certain key things that the guy mentions there. And then I pair, before I share these learning goals, I go with this first 20 hours video, and then we critically evaluate what was said in the video to have like a very clear and deep understanding of learning. And as I said, what's important about this tool is accountability, meaning that the young people are accountable for the work that they're doing. And the learning that they're doing, and then it's not us who are there forcing them to learn. This is not the point. The point is that they find a way how to create priorities in their life when it comes to learning. Is it clear so far? Can I get some emojis again? Maybe some cats or dogs or other pets. Okay. Well, now it's a turtle, Andrew. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Fabiola. Cool smiley. Very good. Okay. And some aliens coming there. Fantastic. Thank you for that. And then I shall go to the big one. This is created again by Zrinka and I together. Why this was created? Because this was out of concern. The first one was out of need. This one is out of concern. Why? Because Ocean Znanja, the organization, is coordinating volunteers in hosting and coordinating in Zagreb, but coordinating volunteers in Lipik. This is another town. We work with 2 institutions. And this means that we are doing the coordination, and I also mentor them. But I mentor the volunteers and I mentor the people who work with the volunteers. So what was our concern? In our organization, the space is there for the volunteers. They do activities that they're passionate about. They can join in regular youth work practices we have on a daily basis. So everything is tailored towards the volunteers. In the organizations that are volunteering in Lipik, this is not the case. These organizations have their own agenda. They're doing their own things. They have their own activities. One is the social care center for children without adequate care, and the other one is helping at home. So basically, an organization offering social services to the elderly who live in a radius of 42 kilometers around Lipik, in towns where you sometimes have 2 or 3 people living in the whole village. They're like 70 plus. So it's difficult for them to go anywhere to get things done and so on. So basically, this organization does this and supports, and the volunteer, and they also have like a center for the elderly people with some activities, and then the volunteers are helping with these activities. So it's very specific, right? And what was the worry was that they're not going to be helpful with the reporting, and they're not going to be helpful with visibility and dissemination of the activities that the volunteers are doing, just because they're not used to this. because they're not a youth organization per se. One is an institution, the other is offering social services. So we created this so that it's a good way that the volunteer does these activities, so that it's a useful content for the organization, and it's useful for us as well, knowing what is happening, how things are developing, and getting more insights than just this mentoring that is happening online every week, and then once a month I go there to Lipik. And I'm going to have an online meeting after this one. I have an online evaluation with Lipik as well. So it's a very important thing for us, but this is why we created it. So it's published on social media once a month by the coordinating organization hosting, and the sending organization share the post. So they have 12 tasks. That's why it's called the 12 labors off. Mind you, this is a tool that we adapted for a 12-month volunteering, which was something that was very common for us before COVID. And what was really important was that every month another activity is being done. It kind of reminds of the Hercules and his 12 labors. That's why it was a Herculean task, and we wanted really to inspire and show them, hey, you are also superheroes for us, even Greek demigods, if you will. And then it was really important for us to inspire them to really do it. So I'm going to go now, with the time that we have left, I'm going to just present this to you. You also have links inside, so you can see examples. I will not be opening them this time, but you have links for every, except for the Youth Pass task and so on, and you can check it all out by yourself at a later time when we send the presentation. Without further ado, we continue with the first task. So the first task starts with the photo of the volunteer. So the volunteer, what the volunteer likes, the background, the hobbies, where they are from, why they applied for volunteering, what will they do on the volunteering, favorite quote. And so this is usually just a photo of the volunteer and a text below. And we publish this on Facebook, on Instagram, and so on. Some organizations will put it on their webpage because they have like a little hall of fame for volunteers. So this is the first month. Second month, they present the hosting organization, meaning where they're volunteering, what they do, what the organization does, what is their contribution to the organization and to the society as well that they are staying in. There's going to be 4 or 5 photos of them on the workplace with colleagues. And of course, the fabled tool, this 10 things I already mentioned. So this is something we do with all our volunteers. So this also has the potential to be visually very appealing. So what they do is that they make a summary of the 10 things they did for the first time. So they're making it a poster in Canva, for example, and it's a summary of the first 3 months. So this is what they did for the first time. What I learned, this comes later. So then it's only 10 things out of the 30 things they did for the first time, and they choose the ones that they feel most comfortable in sharing with the rest of the world. And then they make a Canva summary of these things, and with photos, send it to us, and it's published. Then one that is very important, and this is something that I'm sure that you have experienced this. Maybe you didn't know that this was it, but a lot of volunteers who are staying longer in the volunteering spirit, something that is called a culture, a crash of cultures, meaning that they have a problem with what is happening in the culture shock. And sometimes it's not easy to identify this. And for us, it happened. I'm just going to give you a short example with the volunteer who is usually a pacifist. She's very kind, she's very open, she's very cool, she's very fun. I talked with her at some occasion, and then I was asking how is life in Zagreb, what's happening, are you enjoying, blah, blah, because I was not working with her. She was working with some other colleagues, and she said, I want to kill all the people, all the old people in the tram. I'm like, where did this come from? What is this? And then I took some time to see that she's not joking, actually, that she said this out of frustration. And then what was the frustration? She was very frustrated by how the elderly were talking with her because she didn't speak Croatian so well. So they would scream at her to get up from the seat or something like this, or they would run after the tram, something that is very specific to a few people that sometimes do, that they do in the city center. This is a thing, it's an occurrence, but it's like a very specific, it happens, I don't know, sometimes. nothing super crazy. She started generalizing about how old people are problematic in Zagreb and blah blah blah. So slowly started talking, and then it was more of this thing that she was always comparing with her home country, where she's volunteering, how this is difficult, how this is not okay, that the elderly don't behave like this in her town, and so on and so on. So it was a moment where we started talking about it, and then me giving a perspective that helped her to kind of move past this. So culture shock also it happened to me when I was doing my volunteering. I did my volunteering in Germany for a year. Even though I speak German, I worked with the organization before. I have some friends there. I was still, for example, the weather was a big problem for me because it was raining for 2 months in July and August, which in Croatia is the most beautiful months, and you have sun all the time, right? So I didn't know how to manage this properly. I didn't go out for 2 months. I would just go to do my volunteering and go back home. I didn't do anything. And then my mentor told me, hey, Branimir, if you're not going to adjust to the weather, you can spend your whole life in Germany staying inside, because this is the north part of Germany. So it was, these things happen to a certain extent to people. So what we want here is that they explain what are the specifics, what are the similarities, what are the differences, and what are the surprises that they experienced when living in this new country for them. Because it's 4 months, it's enough time to really get a little clash with the culture, with the differences, right? So they explain they're learning about the culture and other cultures. It should be respectful. And what's really important here is that the youth worker checks it before it being published, because sometimes problematic things can be read out of this. And this is not the point to have them focus on this. In Norway, they don't have soup. Interesting. So something that it's really important that they check it, right? That you check it before it's published. And it's also a great conversation starter if you want to do some mentoring that is not being able to, maybe it was not opened up in the conversations. Now, after the 5 months, we have posted the 10 things I learned or realized in the first 4 months of my volunteering, and a drawing. So it's not anymore just a photo. Now it's a drawing that should represent this learning of them and so on. So again, as I said, these 10 things is really important for us. And you see these little things here, this purple thing. This is actually a link. So you can, when you go, when you get the presentation, you can click on these links and you can check out how these things look like. The youth pass. So what is important for us here is that, we talked about the 10 things, and we talked about how they get the youth pass training from us so that they can organize the 10 things they learned for the first time in the youth pass key competences, where, well, it's important for us to get their view on the youth pass, something that's interesting, like a poem, a rap, video, whatever they want, an article. Unfortunately, we don't have this published because the person who made them, they didn't want it published. So I cannot show you an example of these things, unfortunately, but it's something that really is never, in our experience, at least in my experience, it was never something that was super comprehensive, meaning that they covered all possible competencies very well. They focused on the ones that they liked, and then the poem was focused on this. So this is something that is important for us in the sense that we help them fall in love with the youth pass system, right? It's not just a certificate, it's the organizing of the learning that is important, the framework. And this we try to, that they have a personal connection, personal stake in it. The 7th month is a really important one, and this is the mobility opportunities for youth in ESC and E+, Erasmus+, meaning that the volunteer explains the opportunities that they have, but from the youth point of view, meaning that why it's important for young people to do it, why should they do volunteering, why should they join Erasmus+ projects, to motivate them to find reasons that are uniquely specific to the perspective that the young person has. So this is why I have a lot of links, because this is something that we then use further on down the road when we are promoting a new opportunity, or we're giving, explaining what is happening. So the content that is created by young people for young people most commonly speaks the best to the young people. So this is why we focus on this. And now feast your life on my life in the blah blah city. So what happens here is that the volunteers write an article about the city or village where they live as volunteer. And then in this article, usually it happens that they cherish the place. They spent many months. Basically, it turns into their new home, right? Because after 8 months, you're already very comfortable with the place. There are no more surprises. There are no things that are outside of your grasp. If all the processes were done correctly, they're already integrated. They already have friends. They already are connected, and so on. And they already explored some of the parts. So now this is their perspective on the city that they are living now. And what is really interesting is this is something that we usually publish in the local newspaper or local portal. And basically it gives the locals who live there, it gives them a new view of their own town. This is something that I don't know if you ever had the experience of being on a free walking tour or a walking tour or any kind of tour of your own hometown by an expert who is telling you about your hometown, where then the streets that you walk by every day, you don't think about, and then suddenly something super important happening there. So this is basically the effect that you achieve. The people get again interested. Aha, yes, I've been taking this for granted. So this is how we actually impact as well the local community with little steps, and we explain to them that this is what is going to happen. It always happens. And then we had sometimes comments about I couldn't even believe that this bench has like such a huge story behind it, because it's for people who live there. This is not something new. This is every day, right? So this is a new perspective for also the local community to think about. And then something that I like the most, because what I also do is when I work with the volunteers, I also, I'm a cook myself, a hobby cook. I used to also cook on projects before. So for me, cooking is an essential skill in life. So basically, when I do the orientation training for the volunteers, we also always cook something together. And I show them some traditional Croatian things or some international things. They show me what they do. And I inspire the young people to practice cooking while they're on their volunteering. And then the dinner for friends is basically this little event, little party that the volunteers are organizing for the local people who they became friends with. And then they make the food, they prepare it together, they eat it, and they post about it with a few sentences explain what they did and how they did it. So the idea is to invite all the people that meant something to them on this dinner, and then they are preparing it, and then basically it's a moment of really feeling how they became part of the community. And it doesn't have to be grand. It can be 2 people, 3 people, doesn't matter. The important thing is that it is people with whom they created now a connection, that they are okay with them coming into their home and spending such an evening together. And now, probably the most important thing from the whole list, and this is something that I highly recommend everybody, because one of the things is, as every tool, this can be adjusted. It doesn't have to be the 12 flavors of somebody if you don't have a 12-month volunteering. It can be 8, can be 7, can be 6. There are several that are important, and the most important one is my personal project, the opportunities, the culture crashing, the dinner, and basically, I would say that this is it, but I would focus on my personal project. So this is a very cool thing from EVS that we also adopted, and we're focusing on this because we want to really inspire the young people that they are the ones who start and finish something of their own desires, what they like the most, using the resource they have available, and then the people who are the support structure, they are basically resources, meaning that I'm not going to post for you, I'm not going to call the organization, but I'll give you the contacts, and you can say, hey, Branimir gave me the contacts. You can use our social network as a platform to disseminate the idea that you want, that you did. You can do whatever you want. There should be some aspect of solidarity in it, of course, but it doesn't have to be connected to your volunteering or anything specifically about ESC, apart from it having this solidarity moment, right? So it's important that they're passionate about this, they really want to do this, and it's a little challenge for them. Because when you care about something very much, and then this working or not working, this is a big impact on it. This makes or breaks an experience. And it's really important for them to have this experience of initiating something new, completely theirs, in a new country, because we provide for them everything. It's a support structure. It's like a system where you come, you have this and this many working hours. This is the vacation. You agree with them and everything, but it's already provided, right? We have to provide a certain context. This is where they are content creators. They are the ones who are not just passive consumers, but they are actively making a change and doing it. And then it can be as a personal blogger. They can organize a fan club. I don't know, of Harry Potter fans, whatever they like. Create a photo wall because they love photography in the office or whatever it is. I have many examples of what our young people did, and I'm not going to go into the examples, but there are many fantastic projects, many fantastic ideas, and some of these became such a hit that, for example, we in Ocean Znanja in Zagreb had this activity put us out there because it was so well done, and it was the idea and the concept and the implementation all done by the volunteer. So it's a good, but this is something that is happening in the end. The personal project is not something you force. The personal project is something that happens because they have already mastered every challenge so far and every issue so far. There is then a free topic to write about something, whatever means a lot to them, or they find interesting and want to inform people about, and then they should unleash their creativity. We have a song, Socijalno musik kreni putu I uči zajedno nesi kući, and so on. It's Croatian, doesn't matter anything now for you all, but what I want to say is that we give them this song, and then they should unleash their creativity, and then send us a video of singing the song or reciting the poem or doing something like this with this free topic. So to kind of inspire, because it's the 11 months, they're already capable of everything. So now more challenges for them to learn and to develop. And the last one is, yes, this is the one I forgot. This is the most important one for the final report. And this is the story of my ESC, meaning how they're doing, to tell the story of their volunteering, what happened, if they were doing the 10 things they did for the first time, 10 things they learned, if they were doing the 12 labors, if they were doing the goals. This should be a very easy article to make that explains their whole experience. Sometimes it's in the form of video, sometimes in the form of an article. We have different options and different ideas, but what is really important is that the young people really get the chance to share their story and see how their ESC was and what happens. There is another tool that I didn't have time enough to present. Andre really liked it. He gave me feedback about it. It's called the Map of Experiences, which is something that works like a board game where they get like a printed out map. This is from another organization, but I turn it into a game where they make their own avatar, and then they pass basically through the canyon of challenges, the wind of change, the sea of opportunity, and so on and so on. So different toponyms and hydronyms that are helpful titles for their ESC experience, right? So there are so many different tools that are being used. It just depends on what you correspond with, what you like, what are the things that also light you up, the things that you would want to use yourself. Because if you present something that you're passionate about, I guarantee you that the volunteers would also want to do this and want to use this. And this always worked for me because I really like the things that I do and I really like the tools I use. So I just transfer this enthusiasm about these things and help them along the way to use it. And so the whole journey presented in a video or an article or some form that you can actually use for the final report, because it's really important. And with this, we came to the end. Here you have as well which resources I use. So it was the info kit for participants. It's a very good document, explains everything. You read it through, give it to the participants. It's going to be very clear for them as well. You have the ESC program guide for 2024. It also has a corrigendum, so you can check it there as well. I put the websites, so the South to Southeast one, then all these the reference documents that are useful for you to know, to read before the ESC experience is happening in your organization. And then put our webpage there as well, because Andre told me that's a good idea. So on this webpage, you can find also more examples of the things that we're doing, how we do things, and why we do things, and a little bit about the Buddy Support System as well. So you can read more, maybe recommend to your colleagues who haven't joined the measure that they should join, because it's a fantastic measure. We have been part of it for 2 years. As the experienced organization who was mentoring a less experienced one. We even had 2 1 year, and it was a fantastic experience. And I'm so happy to be able to talk with you about it and to share some of the things that we do, because I believe in the program, I believe in what we're doing, and I'm absolutely a big fan of ESC. I really think it's a fantastic opportunity, and that every young person who has 2 to 3, 4, 5, 6 months should use the opportunity.